You spoke about picking Spellbound as the record you use to take Plex down, right? So now it's a record that was made, and it made me think about it because of the Spellbound thing, called Alphabetical Slaughter, that was made by Papoose. Can you tell me your recollection of how that record
No,
came about?
So, I'm gonna have to give you a little bit of history. So let me go back before we can get to that. All right. Prior to me meeting Pat, I had another artist named James the Juvie. James the Juvie at the time was 13 years old. My little man profile, because I had a little crew of MCs. You know, I had Rise and Shine. You know what I'm saying? I had my little man profile. You know what I'm saying? And I had Jinx. I met Jinx. So profile sounded too much like AZ. You know, another two cats, Un and Bashar, which is Bashar wound up being on AZ album. But they sounded identical to AZ. You know, AZ had this whole persona about him and all that. So a lot of cats wanted to sound like him. So when I met Jinx, you know, I'm like, yo, this little dude is nice. So I would go around and have him battle. So you know, and one day we went down to DR Period Studio out in Bushwick, and same thing. I would sick Jinx on them, but this particular time, I heard of Papoose, but I wasn't really privy of his music because DR was still working on him. But because I had a rapport with Smooth the Hustler and Trigger and Divvy Elias Christ, I had a rapport with them already. So when I took him Jinx down there, you know, I wanted, you know, Jinx to kind of battle Pap, you know what I'm saying? But when he heard Pap, it was like he changed his mind. He's like, nah. But to get to the Alphabetical Slaughter, that was a project that Pap was actually writing. And to be honest with y'all, that is actually an old song because he did it already with DR Period, but it never really came out. There's probably like a white label circling around on the internet or whatever. But I remember when he was writing it, he was still penning, you know what I'm saying, the numbers, because I think he was, at the time when I met him, he was probably up to maybe G or something like that, and he had stopped. So how I became intertwined with Pap is when I had a little P&D deal with Unique Records up in Long Island, and I wound up getting a deal for them for Jinx single, and I wound up doing Jinx single, which is called I'm the Future.
what years is this that you speak? The years of that you talking about as these are taking place?
Okay, I think Jinx is probably like 91, 92. I met Pap early on. I met Pap because before I actually moved to Virginia, I would just come down here periodically for the summertime to visit. So I would go back and forth. So I would come down in the summer with the turntables, and then I would go back to New York. So when at this time I knew DR because DR actually did a B-side of the Payday joint when we did the Payday single with Amar, which is Wiz.
Yeah.
DR did the B-side, which is called Across the Street from the Projects. I was introduced to DR because DR, when I met DR, his name used to be Daryl D. His producer name used to be Daryl D. So my man, King Shaheed, he told us, me and Amar, because he was working with Shaheed, he told us, like, yo, I got this dude named Daryl D. He nice, you know what I'm saying? So we wound up going to homie house, you know what I'm saying? When we went over there, we was just talking. At this time, they only gave us like 10,000, 15,000 for the single. Me and Amar did the first side, which is I did the Melody Mac joint, which is I did that on the EPS, and then we needed a B side, and that's what DR wound up doing. He wound up doing it for a very low price, and that's how we wound up coming with the single. We did that, but I built my own rapport with DR because he's like, yo, this dude's nice, like, you know what I'm saying? And at this time, I didn't even have an MP. I was just doing everything on the ASR 10, the regular one, not even the 16 plus. And that's exactly how we did the deal. But everything, that's why I said so many layers. Like, if you talk about DR Period, then it's gonna be a Papoose, then it's gonna be Smooth, it's gonna be Trigger, you know. So everybody there's a dynamic to the whole thing as we speak upon it.
So Papoose, this goes back to 91, 92, is that what you're saying?
Right, my new Papoose out long.
Okay.
The reason why Papoose started messing with K-Slate because I moved back to Virginia. So that's exactly why that's when Papoose started messing with K-Slate, because everywhere I went to the labels, you know, I had Papoose with me, I had Jinx with me. I used to go with a whole bunch of MCs. You know, Pap had this little crew, the Duggication. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I said, so many layers to stuff, man.
So listen, I'm staying on this Alphabetical Slaughter, right? Because I saw an interview recently. Now, the clip I saw it's probably a couple of years old, but it was a Vlad TV interview with Papoose. And he definitely shouted you out. And Vlad asked him about the Alphabetical Slaughter, and he said that, like you just said, you know, it's the old joint he had. He was only up to a certain letter. He would use it to battle niggas. But why I bring this up is because we have an MC in Crew Thick by the name of Evil Lens. He did the Iron Curtain project, which was released in '99, but a lot of the records were recorded in earlier years. Now, it's always been, you know, we always looked at it as, for lack of a better term, Pat bit the motherfucking arranged article shit from Evil Lens, because he had the A to Z back and forth shit, and we never really heard that before. Evil Lens was probably 15 when he recorded this. The year that
this is in 95.
95. So that's why I'm asking you. So you clearing it up, like Papoose had that fucking record.
Pap Ben had it. When I met Pap, I got, and actually in my storage, I got old records of Pap that never came out. So I know for a fact, and I'm not saying that because that's my homie, Pap had that. I never heard the other brother A to Z, but I knew Pap had that because, like you said, he was battling people with the A to Z. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I could very vouch for that. That it just and it's sometimes in life, man, great minds think alike, man.
That's real. That's real.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you be like, yo, let me try to do something like this, and then he started working on the Z to A. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Pap is a very talented dude. It's just like he just never got his just due. But what I would say is that there's a lot of cats that I feel that was left behind that's ill, but either they not even rapping no more, they just doing something else. And Amar has been one of them, but Amar, which is weird, his pen game is wicked. Just like y'all guys is wicked. Like I always be like, yo, when I first heard you guys, I was like, yo, these cats is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
man, that shit means a lot, bro. That shit mean a lot, bro. You are very connected, you know what I'm saying, musically and industry wise. For those of y'all that do not know, this brother right here, like you said earlier, is responsible for a lot of people's careers. And with that being said, do you feel like you get the accolades or, you know what I'm saying, the credit for what you have done, and does it matter?
Nah, it don't really matter to me, because what I do from the heart. I don't expect anything back, because, you know, when again, like I said, there's so many layers. Like when you talk about Pap, then you got to talk about G Rap, because I'm the one that introduced Pap to G Rap.